Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me my man all the way from the United States of America, finally turning pro, Khalil Co. Khalil, firstly, how are we doing?
Fine, man. I'm just training and trying to prepare for this transition and make it the best pro debut possible.
Let's jump straight in. It obviously announced a couple of days ago, I think 48 hours ago, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have signed you. You will now be promoted by Eddie Hearn in America. How did that firstly come about?
It actually, it came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. But my manager was like, you know what? They reached out to a couple coaches. They didn't have the direct line to me. They reached out to a couple people in the area that they were connected to, and they asked like, how's he doing? How's his work ethic? And they've been watching me, but I wasn't aware. So this was like a couple coaches called out. It was like, hey, Eddie Hearn's looking for you. So like, what? Okay, let's set it up, and then we just went from there. We had a meeting and just went from there.
Why Eddie Hearn? In America, you've got so many other promoters. You've got Al Heyman, Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, etc. You've left the Americans and you've gone with the British promoter in America. Why Eddie? What was your kind of reason behind that?
It's different, like the exposure, the UK, we get to travel and he shows you the world as you're fighting and doing what you love. You see what I'm saying? So that was another thing, and like he takes care of you, make sure you move the right way. He's about you. I'm not saying that the other ones aren't, but I feel more comfortable going this way. He's more interactive with the fighters. Some promoter you never even speak to. See what I'm saying? So that was a big plus for me. Like he can actually text me and we have a conversation as to other promoters you might never ever speak to.
He's obviously signed quite a few American fighters, obviously, over the last couple of years. One of the youngest of all, Devin Haney, for example, and he's doing great things at the moment. But is that what helped you make your mind up even more when you looked at what Eddie's already done for some of the Americans?
Yeah, definitely. He has a friend of mine, Raymond Ford, Nikita out of New York. We were all on the same team together. All of these are like close friends of mine. So, I sat down with a couple people, like a couple fighters that I was on the team with, and we, not just my management, but I got an opinion of other fighters and things like so, which helped me make my decision.
You've got a date already. It looks like it's the end of May.
May 20. Yes, sir.
Las Vegas, the home of boxing, on the Devin Haney Linares undercard. You must be super excited.
I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to step in the ring and show the world what I'm capable
of. Khalil, let's talk a little bit about your backstory. What was it that got you into boxing initially?
My mother brought me to the gym because I was fighting a lot. People ask me that a lot. Like, what got you into boxing? Like my mom, people wouldn't really think that would be the person I would say, probably my brother, my father, something like that. But it was actually my mother. She brought me to the gym. I kept getting in trouble in school and in the streets. I was fighting a lot. So I guess she did that to humble me. It worked, And ever since then, I've never looked back. And
only fighting in the ring, no more fighting outside.
No more fighting outside.
And in terms of when you grew up, obviously your mother brought you into boxing. Were you already watching boxing at the time? Were there any fighters that you looked up to whilst growing up?
No, not really. Like I knew about Mike Tyson and things like that, but I wasn't like, I see his knockouts, I was like, oh, that's crazy. But I never like really sat down. I was a kid. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going outside now. I never sat and watched the fights. But once I got in the gym and actually seeing what they do in the gym, after that, everything was boxing. Like I said before, like I wanted to dress like them, the hairstyles, everything. It had to be boxing. Like, I wanted to look like them. I had to play the part.
And then as you made your transition into boxing, who were the ones that then you looked up to and said, I want to be like him, or I want to accomplish what he accomplished?
I started to watch Sugar Ray Leonard. That's my all-time favorite fighter. Then there was Mayweather, Adrian Broner, the Can Man, not the real Broner, Andre Ward, those are guys that I even like guys in my area, in my gym that were more advanced than me, at the time. I looked up to those guys and that was the milestone I tried to reach. Like I want to be like them, and then I got to that level. Now I'm trying to keep growing.
Your amateur career, let's talk a little bit about that. I know you've been overseas a couple of times as well and fought in international tournaments, but I read that you initially had a plan to go to the Olympics. That was the goal.
Yes.
I think it was the Tokyo Olympics. That was the plan. Mm-hmm. What happened? Why not the Olympics anymore?
There was a lot of like, I wouldn't say. Well, basically, I felt personally, I felt as though like they already had who they wanted to, even though I was number one. I feel like they already had their mind made up on who they wanted to go in that spot. You see, so like there's tournaments you have to keep qualifying for, and you win the qualifying tournament, and then that's not good enough. You have to qualify again. Like, why do I have to keep qualifying? So I felt as though like I wasn't wanted. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do what's best for me. I'm not gonna keep trying if I'm not really wanted, and then I'm wasting all this time. Once I get there, and then you put someone else there anyway. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, I feel like I made the best decision. People have been telling me, oh, you have a pro style of fighting. They've been saying that for a long time, but I feel as though now I'm ready to go. I'm ready to turn. I'm not gonna do it when they say it. I'm ready to turn pro now. So,
well, in terms of that transition from amateur to professional, you just said there, people said you've got a professional style. Do you think you need to change anything in your style and how you fight, or do you think you're ready made for the professional game?
I think I'm made for the professional game. However, like there's always room for improvement everywhere. Like no, you never know too much. You're never too good. See what I'm saying? So I'm always willing to learn and get better.
I just want to go back to one of the international tournaments that you took part in. You went in against the 2016 Olympic gold medalist, Julio Cesar La Cruz, and your smile on your face already tells me how satisfying that win was, but you blasted him and knocked him out. How did that feel? And did you think you could do that to him?
Anything's possible when you put the work in the gym, for real. You just have to believe in your corner and believe in what you did in the gym is gonna work. You see, you have that trust with your coach. Even if you listen in the video, my coach told me to throw the right hand. If you listen, he told me to throw it. And then I threw it, and that's what happened. That shows you when you listen, and you have the right person in your corner, you prevail, But going into that fight, that's pretty much the only person we really trained for and studied and watched film on, because it's so awkward. I can't act like I don't like him. I was just watching the film on him. I love the way he like it's different, But at that moment we were enemies, So you had to do what you got to do. But and going into that fight, it was more like we couldn't leave it to the judges, because I felt like the fight before he lost to Joe Ward out of Ireland, I feel like Joe Ward won the fight, But he is who he is, So he got dropped by Ward. He got back up and did a little dance. So and they gave it to him. So the next day I knew like I couldn't leave it to the judges, So we didn't know it was going to be a knockout, but when it happened, I guess like that's what we trained for. We didn't know it was going to be in the first round or the third round or what, but we know we just had to make it convincing.
Absolutely. Khalil, in terms of the current light heavyweight scene, obviously I believe you're gonna be in the light heavyweight division. Correct?
My debut is gonna be at light heavy, but I'm gonna campaign at 68.
Okay, so you're going to the super middleweight. In terms of the super middleweight division, is obviously stacked with names: Caleb Plant, Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders get it on next week. Callum Smith from the UK, he's probably going to go up to light heavy as well. How do you rate that bunch at the moment in the current super middleweight division?
That is like, well, you know, back in the day they used to call it, with all the heavyweights, they call it I can't remember, but we loved competition. You know, all the great fighters, you want to fight the best, so you know that you're the best. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not one of them guys that's gonna run from the competition, or I want all the smoke, as they say. I want all the smoke, you know, eventually. So, and that's the weight class for it, you know. That's the hot weight class right now. They say wherever Canelo go is where it's hot.
So Canelo's the target eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think that wins that fight? Does Billy Joe have a chance against Canelo?
No. I see how about 6-round stoppage.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Khalil, I know someone you know as well as Errol Spence in the United States of America. A big fight that everyone's calling for, Spence and Crawford. You know, everyone wants to see this fight. They believe this is almost the #1 fight in the welterweight division. Do you feel like fighters don't avoid fighters? Fighters are made to fight, right? But do you feel like there's a lot of politics in the background that's not allowing the fans and the public to see this fight?
There's a lot of sides to the story. I look at it like, I feel as though the guys want to fight each other. Honestly, I feel like they want to fight each other, but there's a lot of things that's stopping them from doing it. You know, like honestly, I've been in, and I don't know if I'm biased on this, but I feel as though Terrence Crawford is going to prevail. You know, I've been in this camp, I've been around him, sparred him. You know, and it's just people think that he doesn't punch hard, but he does. He does. He punches very hard. But he's slick. Like he switches up. He has a lot of weapons in his arsenal, you know, that people don't really like. They don't realize until they're in there with him, you know, and the punches are actually coming. But I think it'll be a great fight, and I don't think Errol's the same fighter since the accident. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's a lot of things that goes in, that plays in part with it.
Absolutely. Let's hope we can see that fight very, very soon before they get a bit too old. Khalil, in terms of yourself now, obviously May 29th, Haney Linares on the card. Is there a plan how many fights we're going to have this year? Are you a man that just wants to just fight as many times as you can in a year, gain that experience before going to that kind of elite level?
Definitely. I'm trying to get as much experience as possible. You know, they want me to carry try to get used to it, but I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to carry anymore. if I smell blood, then it's over. But like I understand why, but I definitely want to fight as many times as possible. You know, inshallah, maybe about 6 times at least. You know, if possible. But definitely, I want to stay active. I want to stay active and get the experience. So when I reach that level, I'm comfortable and I'm prepared.
No, absolutely. This is obviously going to be seen by a lot of fans in the UK. Where can they catch you? Where can they follow you on your social media platforms? No phone numbers, Khalil, but just your Instagram and your Twitter, my man. Where can we see you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Khalil Co _ and then on Twitter at Khalil Co, the #1.
Absolutely. Khalil, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time and catching up with you. And I'm sure there'll be many more of these, and also hopefully many more face-to-faces in the future when the world goes back to a bit of normality.
Definitely. No problem. And I appreciate you having me.
Always a pleasure. Khalil Co, IFL TV, thank you very much.